Stop visualizing what you want. Now. At this exact second, stop. Most people spend their entire lives sketching success in their minds, writing affirmations before bed, pasting photos on vision boards, repeating mantras in the car during traffic jams, while their nervous system keeps vibrating in pure terror, scarcity, and self-distrust. And that's exactly why nothing changes. If you're watching this video, you've already tried. You've read the books. You've done the manifestation audios. You've repeated, I deserve, I attract, I receive until your mouth went dry. And still your bank account, your body, your routine, your relationship, and your phone remain exactly the same. You're not lazy. You're not a low-vibration person. You're not making a mistake due to a lack of spiritual discipline. There is a specific biological error blocking the manifestation of your reality. And in the next few minutes I'm going to reveal, based directly on the teachings of Dolores Cannon and the neuroscience of heart-brain quantum coherence, exactly what that error is, why it happens today, July 27th, and how to reverse it before this day ends. The first point that needs to enter you like a surgery is this. The human brain is not a receiver of reality. It is a generator. Cutting-edge science, the studies from the HeartMath Institute, the research from the Max Planck Institute, and the accounts collected by Dolores Cannon over more than 4 decades of deep regression all point to the same unsettling conclusion. The reality you call life is a projection. A projection built, millisecond by millisecond, by the electromagnetic field your heart emits, shaped by the instructions your brain processes, filtered by the chemistry of the emotions dominating your body. Dolores Cannon used to say, in the material she called Sessions with the Superior Subconscious, that we are creators who have forgotten themselves. Not creators in the metaphorical sense, creators in the literal biological sense. Your thought generates a measurable electrical current. That electrical current interacts with the electromagnetic field of your heart, which is roughly 100 times stronger than the brain's field. And that interaction creates an energetic signature that is read, reflected, and returned by the quantum field around you in the form of what you call coincidence, opportunity, luck, or bad luck. You don't receive the life you want. You receive the life your biology is transmitting, and right here is where the problem begins. Because most people transmit one thing with their mouth and a completely opposite thing with their body. The mouth says, I am ready to receive. The jaw says, I don't believe this. The mouth says, I trust the process. The gut clenches in anxiety every morning. The mouth says, I am abundance. The chest tightens when looking at the bank statement. And it's this contradiction, this dissonance between what you declare and what your body is signaling that locks up the manifestation. Dolores Cannon was extremely clear in stating that the universe does not interpret languages. It doesn't speak Portuguese, doesn't speak English, doesn't decode verbal affirmations. The universe responds to one single thing, the internal frequency of the emotional state you are living in right now, in this instant as you breathe. And this is precisely where the second pillar of that hidden engineering comes in, the internal frequency that attracts experiences. If the quantum field responds to state, not to words, then the only thing that matters to start changing your life is the energetic signature your body is emitting at this very moment. Every person emits a vibration determined by the combination of 3 elements operating simultaneously, the thoughts passing through the conscious mind, the chemical emotions flooding the body through the endocrine system, and the subconscious identity programmed during your first 7 years of life. If these 3 elements are aligned on the frequency of fear, the field returns fear. If they are aligned on the frequency of scarcity, the field returns scarcity. If they are aligned on the frequency of real abundance, embodied, felt as already true, the field returns abundance. Mark this well. I did not say want abundance. I said be abundance. There is an abyssal difference between desiring something and being the person who already possesses something. Desiring keeps the object outside you. Being dissolves the distance between you and the object. As long as you wake up every day thinking, I want money, your body transmits the frequency of the lack of that money, and the field, obedient, delivers more lack. As long as you repeat, I want love, your nervous system transmits loneliness, and the field delivers more loneliness. Manifestation does not begin when you ask. Manifestation begins when you stop asking, because internally you already know, feel, and live as if the request had been answered long ago. Dolores Cannon reported case after case of people who, under deep hypnosis, accessed parallel realities where their desires were already accomplished facts, and those same people, upon awakening, saw those facts materialize in physical reality within weeks. The mechanism is always the same. Raise the internal frequency to the point where the body believes, without asking permission from the rational mind, that the desired is already present. And it is right here that 97% of people stop. Because raising internal frequency is not an intellectual technique. It is a reconfiguration of biology. And the biology of your current identity was built over 20, 30, 40 years of emotional repetition. You are not going to undo that with an afternoon of visualization. That is why I have prepared the Ima da Prosperidade for you. It is not a course. It is not an e-book. It is a 28-day journey designed to deactivate the identity of scarcity imprinted on your nervous system and, in its place, imprint the frequency of real abundance, spiritual, emotional, and financial. 28 days because that is the minimum time neuroscience points to for the formation of stable new neural pathways. 28 days because that is what your body needs to dismantle the chemical addiction it has to cortisol, to anxiety, to distrust, and begin operating at a new baseline of coherence. If you feel, deep down, that you have spent your entire life transmitting the wrong signal, the link to Ima da Prosperidade is in the first pinned comment just below this video. Do not leave it for tomorrow, because tomorrow is made of the frequency you are emitting today. And if you now understand that your reality responds to your state and not to your words, comment down below with the phrase, "I already am what I want to attract." Write the phrase. Feel the phrase. Let the phrase engrave a new instruction into your nervous system. Now we enter the third pillar of this architecture, the real secret of intention and manifestation. There is a trap within this subject, a very silent trap that consumes years of intelligent people's lives. It's this. People confuse intention with desire. Desire is a pull, a force that points outward, towards something that is not yet here, and that implicitly carries the message of lack. Intention is the opposite. Intention is the silent, architectured, coherent decision that something is already on its way, already yours by right, and that the only thing left is the linear time of the universe to catch up to what your consciousness has already anchored. Dolores Cannon used to say that the subconscious, what she also called the higher self, does not respond to pleas. It responds to commands. And the command only has power when it arises from within a person who is not divided between two realities at the same time. Most people emit cracked commands. They say, "I will prosper," while an inner voice whispers, "But you've never succeeded before." They say, "I will find my love," while the body screams, "You are not worthy." They say, "I will heal my body," while the mind anticipates the worst diagnosis. This divided command is the energetic equivalent of sending two letters at once, one asking for marriage and the other asking for divorce. The universe obediently delivers neither. It delivers the state of confusion you are transmitting. Think for a second how this materializes on an ordinary morning. The person wakes up, puts on the manifestation audio with 2 million views in their earphones, takes a deep breath, feels a slight morning euphoria, writes in their journal, "Today I am prosperous, I am deserving, I am receptive." 5 minutes later, they open their email and see the credit card bill. Their chest seizes. Their sympathetic nervous system fires. Cortisol spikes. The frequency of fear settles like a toxic cloud across the entire body. And they will spend the next 10 hours of their day, 10 hours vibrating in that state. Then at night, they repeat 3 minutes of affirmations before sleep and wonder why life doesn't improve. It doesn't improve because their biology transmitted for 10 straight hours the command, "I am vulnerable, I am vulnerable, I am vulnerable," while their conscious mind transmitted for a total of 6 minutes the opposite command. The field listens to the majority, always. For manifestation to occur, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind must operate in the same direction for most of the day. And this is not philosophy. This is applied neurophysiology. When the prefrontal cortex, the seat of conscious will, enters into synchrony with the limbic system, the seat of subconscious emotion, the brain enters a state called global coherence. In this state, brain waves organize, the heart follows, the body's electromagnetic field stabilizes. And it is in this state, exclusively in this state, that the energetic signature you emit ceases to be contradictory noise and becomes a clean, focused magnetic signal. It's like the difference between a poorly tuned radio, full of static, and a station broadcasting at high frequency with crystal clarity. The universe only receives the crystal clear signal. The noise is ignored. And if your life is stagnant, it's because you have been transmitting pure noise for decades. But there is a layer beneath that, a deeper layer, more ancient, more stubborn, and it is the reason why most people will never manifest anything substantial using only conscious techniques. I am talking about the limiting beliefs of the subconscious, what Dolores Cannon called in her deepest sessions, programmatic contracts. They are instructions that were engraved on your subconscious mind before the age of 7 and have remained there, functioning like an invisible operating system, silently defining what you think is possible, what you think you deserve, and what you think is impossible for you. If at age 5 you heard that money is the root of all evil, that phrase became code. If at age 4 you saw your parents fight over bills, that scenario became identity. If at age 6 you were humiliated while asking for something, that feeling became reflex. You grew up, became an adult, read self-help books, took herbal baths, went to therapy, attended retreats. But that code was never rewritten. It is still there, running in the background, sabotaging every conscious attempt at expansion. When you try to earn more money, the code kicks in and creates financial self-sabotage. When you try to truly connect in a relationship, the code creates distance. When you try to take care of your body, the code creates giving up. That is why positive affirmation alone doesn't work. That is why a vision board alone doesn't work. You cannot reprogram an operating system by painting over the screen. You need to enter the source code. And the source code is only accessible in specific brainwave states, deep alpha, theta, and occasionally delta. States that the ordinary mind in the accelerated rhythm of daily life almost never reaches without a guided tool. In beta, which is the accelerated waking state where you spend most of your week, the brain is too busy processing external stimuli, deadlines, notifications, and anticipatory anxiety for any new instruction to penetrate down to the layer where beliefs reside. It is like trying to write on a wall covered by a steel curtain. The curtain must come down. It comes down when the brainwaves slow. Theta, especially, is the state of deep hypnosis, of trance, of the 6-year-old learning the world of the moment just before sleep. That is why the suggestions given by Dolores Cannon in her QHHT sessions had permanent effects. She guided the client into theta before any reprogramming. Outside that state, the instruction slips. Inside that state, it prints. And that is precisely why the Emunda Prosperidade exists. It was architected to take your brain day after day, for 28 consecutive days, into the neurological state where the old code becomes rewritable. It is not motivation. It is a bypass. If you recognize this pattern in yourself, the link is in the first pinned comment. Decide now, before the next block of automatic beliefs takes hold of you again. Continuing in the engineering of creation, we arrive at the pillar that separates those who dream from those who manifest, the integration of visualization, emotion, and connection with the field. Visualization alone is powerless. If you close your eyes and imagine the life you want, but your body remains in the emotional state of the life you have today, visualization is merely fantasy. A mental theater with no biological consequence. For visualization to transform into an instruction for the field, it must be accompanied by the emotion corresponding to the imagined reality. And here is the detail that Dolores Cannon repeated ad nauseum in her final sessions. It is not enough to imagine the new car. You must feel the gratitude of already driving it. It is not enough to imagine the balance in your account. You must feel the security of already having it. It is not enough to imagine the ideal partner. You must feel the completeness of already being beside them, because emotion is the electromagnetic fuel of thought. Without emotion, thought is a weak wave that dissipates before leaving your body. With emotion, thought transforms into a dense, charged pulse, capable of imprinting a mark on the fabric of the quantum field, and the body does not distinguish between a reality imagined with intense emotion and a reality actually lived. That is why, when you remember an old trauma, your heart races as if it were happening now. That is why, when you imagine an embarrassing situation, you feel real shame, with real blushing and real sweating. The nervous system treats emotion-laden imagination as fact. And if you can train your imagination to carry the emotion of the reality you want, your nervous system will begin to operate as if that reality were already present, and the field, which merely mirrors the state of your nervous system, will begin to organize external events to correspond to that internal state. That is the mechanics. There is no mysticism here. There is physics of the electromagnetic field. There is biology of perception. There is neuroscience of coherence. You imagine, you feel, the body transmits, the field responds. And if you learn to do this every day with discipline, with intensity, with ritual, you will no longer need to try to control external reality. External reality will begin to rearrange itself around you. And there is a moment in the energetic calendar that amplifies this process exponentially. That moment is now today, this Monday, July 27th. It is no coincidence that you came across this video today. Specific dates function, within the quantum mechanics of collective consciousness, as windows, points where the field is more receptive, more malleable, faster at responding to clear intentions. Not because there is magic in the number itself, but because there is something more subtle and more powerful, the effect of synchronized attention. When thousands of people around the world focus their minds and hearts on the same theme on the same day, the collective consciousness forms an amplified field. Dolores Cannon reported, especially in the later volumes of her work, that there are temporal bifurcation points, moments when the conscious observer can jump from one timeline to another with much less effort than on ordinary days. Today is one of those points. And what you do internally today, the state you choose to embody today, the decision you make today about who you are from now on, carries disproportionate weight compared to any other day this month. It is like a lever. The same physical effort, applied in the right place at the correct angle, moves a stone 10 times larger. That is the dynamic of this date. There is yet another factor, quieter, that Dolores Cannon pointed to as the reason why certain dates become real portals: the accumulation of intention. When you reach the end of July, the field has already been worked for weeks by millions of minds that anticipated the moment, researched it, felt the expectation. That density of collective attention acts like fertile soil. A seed planted in fertile soil sprouts much faster than an identical seed planted in dry ground. Your intention today falls on fertile soil. That does not mean it will sprout on its own. You still need to plant. You still need to water. You still need to sustain the emotional state corresponding to what you sowed in the coming days. But the response rate is geometrically higher than on an ordinary Tuesday in October. Only there is a problem. You can rationally understand all of this and still not be able to use the window, because knowing is not the same as being. You can understand that today is a portal and still remain within the same frequency of anxiety, doubt, and self-sabotage that has accompanied you for the last 10 years. And then the window closes, silently, without warning. And you wake up again in the same life, in the same body, with the same bank account on the 28th. To prevent that from happening, you need a structure, not a motivational phrase, a biological structure that forces your body to operate in a new state for 28 consecutive days. The minimum time for the brain to consolidate new neural pathways and for the heart to stabilize into a new coherence. The magnet of prosperity is exactly that structure. It was made for those who have come this far into this video, understood the mechanics, and know internally that willpower alone won't change anything. The link is in the first pinned comment right now. If you decide tomorrow the price might be different, and the window of July 27th will have already closed, the responsibility is yours. The field is ready to respond. The only question is whether your body will keep transmitting scarcity or whether you will imprint, today, a new state. And here we arrive at the final understanding, what Dolores Cannon called the secret behind all secrets. True transformation does not come from changing your life. It comes from changing your interpretation of yourself within it. As long as you believe you need to change external circumstances in order to be happy, you are a slave to the world. And the world, obediently, keeps supplying circumstances that reinforce your servitude. When you flip that, when you decide from the center of your chest that you are the source, that you are the generator, that you are the observer who collapses reality, the logic inverts. The world begins to respond to you, not because magic happened, because the energetic signature of the observer changed, and the field mirrored that change. You don't have to wait for your bank account to fatten in order to feel prosperous. It's the opposite. You need to feel prosperous first, viscerally, biologically, at the cellular level, and the bank account will obey. You don't have to wait for love to arrive in order to feel loved. You need to inhabit the frequency of already being love, and love will find paths that the rational mind could never calculate. You don't have to wait for the body to heal in order to trust the body. You need to trust the body now in the midst of pain, and healing will emerge as a consequence of that trust. This is the inversion that Dolores Cannon called the awakening. It is not seeing light. It is not hearing voices. It is realizing once and for all that reality was not out there waiting for you. It was inside you the whole time, waiting for you to decide. And today, July 27th, is the day of that decision. You can close this video, go back to your phone, to your routine, to the same thoughts you had yesterday, the day before, last year, and tomorrow morning your body will wake up and repeat the same emotional past it has been repeating for a decade. Biology is obedient. It executes what has been imprinted upon it. Or you can do something different. You can assume authorship. You can go to the first pinned comment, open Ima da Prosperidad. Start today and allow the next month of your life to be the first month in which the internal signature truly begins to change. No one will do this for you. No guru, no saint, no distant universe. Biology is waiting for your instruction. And if you have made it to this paragraph, it is because a part of you already knows. If you understood that it is not reality that needs to change, but the frequency of the one observing reality, comment down below, right now, with the phrase "Eu ya sou o que quero atrair." Write it, feel it, let the phrase enter your body as a new instruction, and then open the first pinned comment. Decide, because July 27th will not come back, and your body, if you do not intervene, will go back to sleep. The choice is now.